Hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. You are here in the home of the Slightly Above Average Ship Review. So, today I'm going to bring you a review or a game in the American Legendary Tier Cruiser Worcester, which was just buffed on Monday. Um, we're going to be on the Atlantic in a domination match, obviously, because we are a legendary ship. We're going to be top tier. And let's talk about the buffs the Worcester is getting uh, in the game here. It is getting buffs too. Waiting for a picture to load. It's getting a lot of buffs. It is getting a ton of buffs. All right, let's see if my picture loaded up here. All right, main battery reload time decreased by 1.4 seconds. Fire setting chance for HE shells increased by 2%. HE shell penetration increased by 5 millimeters. Turning circle radius decreased by 10 meters. Radar reload time decreased by 1 minute. Shell grouping increased by 2.5%. So those are some significant buffs, and you would think by that the Worcester, quick look at the teams, Atlantic domination match. You would think the Worcester is a particularly poor performing cruiser. Now, as you know, I don't play a lot of cruisers because I am just an average player and I find them challenging to do well in. I think the Worcester, the Atlanta, the Cleveland, probably throw the Helena and the Dallas in there in some respects. I would consider them all HE spammers. I would consider them all, for me, at least when we're talking about the Atlanta and the Worcester, and probably the Cleveland, reliant on using islands and kiting and cover to get a lot of work done. All right, so here we've come out towards Charlie. We're engaging this Conqueror. As you can see, shell travel very slow in the air, not something I'm really used to, so we're having problems down in that aim. Do I think this ship is going to be helped by these buffs? Yes, but I think the people that are going to be helped most by these buffs are people like me who don't play cruisers a lot. I think a lot of people love the Alaska based on the recent ranked battles. Saw tons of rental Alaskas all over the place. Only saw a couple of Worcesters, so I think they're trying to balance the Worcester out with the Alaska, trying to get more people to play the Worcester. It's been out of the Bureau for quite some time. So hopefully those changes work. Not that I want more HE spamming cruisers in the game. Um, but here's we're doing this replay because this is a pretty good match, I feel, in this ship. But for me, my performance in these ships is based on the map. If it's a map with a lot of islands and I can get a lot of concealment or a lot of cover going on, then I'm going to have a good match. And if it isn't, I won't. Um, and maybe some of those buffs will help change that. If you didn't notice already, based on the consumables, we are running the base commander. This is probably the last match I used the base commander in a U.S. cruiser on. His base trait, as you know, Mr. Dewey, base trait increases the torpedo detection distance, if I'm remembering correctly. And I moved him back to battleships after this because I unlocked Shelley Deeply, who has a really cool, unique base trait in World 4 called Private Zone. And Private Zone offers me the triple concealment that the base commander offered me, which is why I now run her in this ship in the Atlanta and other cruisers that have good concealment in the U.S. line. Flint, I want to say I have her in that as well. So here we're just trying to set fires using our quick reload and our fire setting to do a lot of damage. We're cutting away from this Alaska and using this big island as cover. Um, Essentially, at the end of the day, even if you're a great cruiser player, I think you can agree, if you get focused from the very beginning, you are going to have a short match. If you have the ability to shoot without a lot of people shooting back at you, you can do a ton of damage. Since we are down a couple of ships, um, I think, yeah, doing a lot of open water shooting probably isn't going to work out well. We are lighting up this Alaska here with our HE, but I am maneuvering back away from Charlie due to the number of enemy ships out there. And the Alaska's turrets are engaged elsewhere, so we're able to light him on fire and rain in a little bit more HE. You can see AA guns, secondary guns being knocked out, and that's something you can do to help your aircraft carrier out if you are in a match with an aircraft carrier, which we are not, but I just thought I would mention that. If you're an HE spamming cruiser and you got some US ships on the enemy team, spamming them with your HE is going to help out your aircraft carrier commander. All right, we moved over here to the airfield island. This is a really good place for a ship like this. You can hide behind the island and use some of the rock to defend yourself. You can see we are lighting up this enemy Alaska. We burnt down another Alaska. I didn't even probably realize I was doing that. Um, Continuing to fire at this guy. He can't get to us because of his guns. I don't think he can elevate so close to the island to get over it. Whereas we can just back up and spam him with HE. And the other good thing is we're backed up now, so we can also engage this Grocer Kerr first, which is a little farther out, as well with our HE. Fortunately for us, that Alaska got absolutely erased. So we've got to focus our fire on this Grocer for now, which is always a good target for an HE spamming ship, a German ship. Very prone to catching up fire, at least in my opinion. So we are just going to stay here in cover for now while we're safe and light him up while being cognizant of the other ship's placement on the map. And this is really how you stack up the points, stack up the damage in a ship like this, especially if you're not a great player like myself in cruisers. You really got to maximize your opportunities. I can tell you that while this match was going on, no one was more shocked than me with the damage I was putting out in this thing. And again, this was recorded at the beginning of the winter um, flurry campaign or whatever. That's why the rental ships are in the game. So, is the buff needed? Probably. Did we really need it in this match? You know, you tell me. You tell me. So this Grocer's coming around. He is shooting at us. We're angling slightly away. That did, I hope, lessen some of the damage. He is shooting at another ship with his rear guns. Probably that's why he's dead right now, and I'm not dead. We spam him with Slurp Fire and burn him down for our second kill. Alright, we got a Yamato over here. Also have a destroyer over here somewhere in the ether. Using our binos, we see the Yamato's guns are aimed somewhere else, so I feel very comfortable giving him a almost full broadside. As you can see, tons of torpedoes in the water. We are just spamming the Yamato. He has taken a ton of damage from another ship. So we're just going to sit dead in the water here pretty much and light him up. We do unlock the Witherer medal, which I probably don't get very often, but happy to get it now. Continuing to light him up. I want to say that is a friendly Yamato near us shooting at him, and Yamato takes out Yamato. We've got an Alaska over here, but unfortunately that destroyer on the enemy team isn't spotted, and I believe he's going to torpedo the Yamato here as I zoom in on this Alaska R and try to take him out. So we're going to go from a tie game where the points are separated by about 30. In just a matter of seconds, we're going to go down by a couple of ships here. So really a huge shift in the game. And this really underscores how important destroyers are to the match. If you're getting good destroyer player, you're going to be able to have an advantage at the game. There goes the Yamato. We were up a ship, now we're down a ship. And now I'm going to have to engage the destroyer, and that's going to leave the Alaska open. Just, shoot at me with no consequence. Sorry about the vacuuming noises in the background. I'm in a hotel. So we're getting fired at by the Alaska. Um, again, here's where my lack of playing experience in a cruiser comes back to haunt me. Not really aiming the shells very good. Shimakaze over here able to maneuver out of our shell travel. So again, this is just my inexperience with the ship, inexperience with cruisers. And that's why I do try to play cruisers every now and again to kind of remember how fast the shell travel is and how to lead the enemy destroyer. Because it's quite possible if I had better familiarity with the ship, I already could have taken out the Shima and been back to concentrating on the Alaska. But now I have to dodge Shima torps, which I'm not going to do very successfully. Here I turned back in because I didn't think I could get past that one, but I should have turned back in the first place. And now I'm going to turn out to get my turrets on target. And we are going to whittle down the Shima, but now not fast enough. And we're going to be left getting clipped by the last torpedo right here, despite my best efforts. So in a minute here, we're going to clip to the end of the match. We did not win the match. Um, Battleship killed the battleship he's fighting. Did not get back here in time to kill the other Alaska. So here we are on the defeat screen. Pardon me, COVID's fault. With her medal, 3 kills, 15 fires, 144,000 plus damage, and almost 300 main battery hits in the Worcester. There we are at the top of the board. In the loss, 3 kills. Had some good help from the gross recur first. But look at the top 3 guys on the enemy team. Then these legendary tiers. You could be in third place and still have a whale of a game. So those guys played great, and we just could not get the job done in this game. All right, so that's a quick look at our commander right here. Never to play in a cruiser again. As you can see, base trait really more meant for a battleship.